Meeting at the White House, the first time the president will be sitting down with the leadership for the next 2 years. Big agenda, including whether your taxes are going to go up or if they'll come to an agreement on extending Bush tax cuts. Also the START treaty, but it could also give us a fascinating window into how these two sides are going to get along, or maybe not get along, over the next couple of years. Joining me now, Republican Congressman from Iowa, Steve King. Congressman, good to see you. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me on.
So I'm listening to the morning shows this morning, and people like John McCain and Eric Kant are absolutely on message. There's an op-ed piece that I have here from the Washington Post from John Boehner and Mitch McConnell, and they really are stating one basic premise. They believe that the election was about a mandate, in a sense, to extend current tax rates, including tax rates on what they call small business owners, which means over $250,000. A lot of the other issues that are in contention. So here's my question. Inside that room today, is there room for compromise?
You know, I think it's going to be hard to get to the point where there would be a compromise on this side, because we have a new mandate for the new 112th Congress, and the American people have spoken. And I remember the dialogue when Republicans lost the majority in 2006. There was a new mandate. The American people had spoken. When President Obama was elected, he said he won the election. Well, this time the American people have spoken. It's about debt and deficit. Yes, it's about maintaining the current tax structure in the 2001 and 3 tax brackets. So the question is, can the president come to a position here to extend them all, or do we need to do that in January?
Well, the funny thing about mandates is, and I say this with all due respect, is that people tend to interpret them in different ways. So I'm just looking at the polls, and I went through a lot of recent polls, and I couldn't find one where the American people were in favor of extending tax cuts for the wealthy. They're obviously across the board strongly in favor of extending tax cuts for the middle class. But where do you read into what happened in November that they also want tax cuts on people over $250,000 or over $1,000 or over $1 million a year?
Well, you know, we should remember that we've been through about 2.5 or more years of class envy political dialogue, where the president has put that marker down at $250,000 and to some degree demonized the people that were making more than that. And so with that 2.5 years of public dialogue that's eroded the public trust in the American dream, surely there'll be some people that'll play class envy and say people making over $1 million don't deserve a tax cut. I'd ask instead, who does not deserve to maintain the brackets that we have? I haven't heard a clamor from anybody in that period of time to increase the taxes on those making over $250,000 or those making over $1 million.
So no compromise on this issue, as far as you can see?
I would not, but I am very concerned about midnight, December 31st, with the estate tax. If the taxes aren't addressed before the end of the year, we'll have people that are on their deathbed, families gathered around the deathbed, making life and death decisions by looking at tax liabilities, and that is cruel. And this Congress should address this before that should happen.
I want to bring up one more topic. It probably won't be brought up in the meeting, but you have said that a top priority for you is to defeat the DREAM Act, which offers a road to citizenship for illegal immigrants. I want to play for you a clip of an undocumented student who I interviewed yesterday, and then I'll ask you about it on the other side, Congressman.
Okay.
Many of us are not criminals. Many of us just want to show this country that we care, that, you know, we love it, and that we just want to give back to the country that saw us grow.
What do you say to a student like that? College graduate, has done very well, brought here as a little kid by their parents, no decision that they made, worked hard, got a good education, and wants to be productive. Doesn't America need well-educated workers? Should there be an opportunity for them to stay?
Well, my response would be America needs the rule of law if we're going to succeed as a nation, and we have to draw the line somewhere. Congress has drawn the line. They've drawn the line in the 1996 Immigration Reform Act, and the people that don't comply with the law should expect that the law will be enforced. But here's the alternative thing that we would be accepting if the DREAM Act were to be passed, or if there's an automatic citizenship piece that would move forward. The alternative would be this: having a widow or a widower, or a son or a daughter of someone who has given their life in defense of our liberty in a place like Iraq or Afghanistan, paying out-of-state tuition, sitting in a desk in a classroom next to someone whom, if ICE were required to deliver the de facto scholarship of the DREAM Act, they would be required to deport them rather than give them the de facto scholarship. So how do you reconcile someone getting an in-state tuition discount, the equivalent of a scholarship, who is in the United States illegally, sitting next to someone who's paying out-of-state tuition? That's what the 96 Immigration Immigration Reform Act addressed, and that's what the DREAM Act actually repeals. I don't think that can be reconciled morally.
Congressman King, thank you so much.
Thank you, Chris.
More shocking details in the case.